Hi, I'm Rob,
And I'm Angie.
and together we are
TwinFinity.
TwinFinity. We're having a hard time getting started tonight, and it even started before we even hit the record button, because I'm still grieving over the thought that I didn't change my shirt yet. Yet here we are. So
That's what the issue is. It's your shirt.
yeah, maybe it is.
Normally we just do a video. This time this is our third try. So if that tells you anything, that might be how the whole evening of question and answers goes.
This could be a lot of fun.
Or not.
I've got a lot of stripes on my shirt, but we all know that a tiger can't change its stripes, so it's still me.
Okay.
We're here to do a question and answer video.
Yes.
We'll get there eventually, don't worry.
Well, let's hope. Before we start, though, we wanted to wish all of our American friends a happy Thanksgiving. We're actually doing this on your official Thanksgiving night, Thursday, November 25th. Whether it'll get posted tonight, nobody knows, because it depends how well this video goes.
I kind of doubt it. There's always some little technological challenge, and that usually ends up taking all the efforts to post past bedtime, or, well, at least close to bedtime. So
Yeah.
even if we do get it posted exactly today, might not be today that people see it.
That's true.
It'll be tomorrow, which will still be tomorrow's today.
Oh boy.
We're in trouble tonight.
This is going to be a dangerous video.
So do we have any announcements or anything else? Or...
I thought of some days ago, but now that we're here, I have nothing. Do you have any else?
Well, I'll go back to something I said earlier before we got started, which probably didn't help us make our first or second tries work properly. Angie's a lot shorter than I am, and I'm sitting on the floor, and she obviously isn't.
You're tall today. Normally I actually sit on one pillow because otherwise I'm like dwarfed compared to Rob. But tonight I'm sitting on two pillows just because I wanted to feel extra tall.
Our usual stage for our recording device is different tonight, and it changed all of our heights, and we just about gave up and went back and got the other place to put our recording device. But yeah, we were down here already, so we just made do with what we had.
That's right. Oh, and for those that love Cookie, there will be no dog interruptions or greetings this evening because she's at her second mom's house. We have a friend that loves our dog, so she usually borrows her for the weekend. So we are cookie-less. So for those of you that are hoping for Cookie, sorry.
No cookies tonight.
No cookies.
I might be able to open a bag of chips. I'm in so much trouble.
We're sorry. So, as usual, we're late doing the question and answer video because we just are. It's just the way life goes. We don't even apologize anymore because what's the point? It's just the way it is.
Everybody who knows us well knows that we get around to it.
Yes, we do.
And anyone who's new, please understand that we like to kind of wing what we do. We enjoy having this little bit of fun. And sometimes it takes us a little while to get around to having our next little batch of fun.
Yeah. But we're here for a batch of fun. So our question and answer reader.
By the way, I slightly cheated. I read a few of these questions just a little bit. I normally don't do this.
Good to know.
So, anyway.
Okay.
I'm really quite looking forward to these questions. They've got a lot of meat and potatoes in them. There's going to be lots of chatting to do. Are we ready for the first question?
No, but we'll do it anyway.
What she said. A few years ago, I told my twin about twin flames. While he was accepting, he didn't jump into exploring a lot. He recently mentioned that I was on his mind all the time and he couldn't stop thinking of me, and asked if that happened to me. I told him it did. Despite several marriages, this has never happened to him before, and he's baffled. How can I help him explore and understand how and why this happens with twin flames? I don't want to push the idea on him, and I know he needs to explore within himself why I'm on his mind and go on his own part of this journey. Thank you both. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Somewhere in that question is a question of he's questioning how this connection works because it's not anything like he's ever had before or since. Sounds like he's had that the connection was first discovered in between times that he's had other connections.
In between other relationships,
yeah. And there's also the aspect of you don't want to push all this on him. Yeah. All this is a good idea, except sometimes a person does need just a little bit of prodding, but the prodding has to be, I think, offered and accepted.
Well, see, I want your specific opinion as the masculine. Like, if like most of the time, the masculine energy, which doesn't have to be a male, it's the masculine energy, though, that because they're logical, they live in their left brain, they need to almost be hit over the head with, like, why can't I stop thinking of this person? Why is this person so different from every other relationship? And that's when they finally start searching or start asking questions or start needing answers to figure out what's so different about this. So I want to know, as the masculine, what is your opinion? Should she help him more? Should she give him more information? Should she leave him alone?
Going back to the sentence of while he was accepting, he didn't jump into exploring a lot. I think that that is very typical of the
Totally.
of either the masculine side or the left brain side or the matrix side of the twin flame equation.
Yeah.
They tend to be quite happy where they are at, even if they've got a curiosity as to how they got to where they're at. They oftentimes don't really want to push to get the answer themselves. I think that a lot of masculines kind of expect that the feminine side is just going to go understand everything and look after it for them. But what they don't quite understand is that the masculine side has its own journey, and they can't let the feminine side do the journey for them.
Right.
This is where the feminines get tripped up. Is a lot of times I think the feminine tries to do the journey for the masculine.
Yes, and give them too much and help them too much.
Well, or help them when the masculine is not inviting the information.
Right. Which means they're not ready for it. Is my opinion.
It's one thing to have someone try to give you a bunch of information. It's another thing if that person has asked if you're willing for information and you have chosen to accept the infliction of information on yourself. So, as opposed to saying, "Hi, Mr. Masculine," or Mrs. Masculine, as Angie explained.
This is masculine. I like that.
This is what you're going to learn today because I'm going to tell you because you don't seem to be going out and figuring this out on your own. It's always a really good idea to say, I've got a lot of ideas as to how we are the way that we are, why you feel the way that you do. It's deep, it's involved, there's going to be a lot of new stuff. It might be beyond what you're really capable of absorbing. But do you want some information anyway? Do you at least want, you can portray it as, do you at least want my opinion?
Right.
Because ultimately, if the masculine eventually does get onto their own journey and come to their own conclusions, the opinion that is given them might not be what they learned from their own journey. So I prefer to call what someone's learnings are an opinion because it is their learnings, not necessarily what the masculine's going to learn on their own.
Right.
So, should you push? I think that the push question is yes, but definitely ask for permission. Get the person's buy-in first. Let them say, yes, I will take more information.
Yeah. Because if you just give it, you're going to be met with resistance. Then that's when the ego comes up. And again, the masculine energy is the one that has more ego. And again, that doesn't mean male versus female. That just means the masculine energy. And when you come up with that resistance of ego, then they're going to have walls and they're not going to hear a darn thing you're saying.
Completely agree. This is very much like robocalls that you'd get on your cell phone. Do you want to robocall the poor person and have them go, no, I don't like these, as in the informations? Or do you want them to subscribe to the thought of getting the information from you? It's a big, big, big difference.
I know when Rob and I were coming into union and I was being guided to tell him things, I was told before I even started telling him stuff to only tell him when he was ready and when he asked for it. Because then he was in an open frame of mind. I mean, when I told him we were twin flames and he got it, I just wanted to explode and tell him everything. But I was told, no, wait until he asks and then tell him. And if you remember our story videos, we have read, like I read texts of where he would say, oh my God, I'm experiencing this. And I'd be like, oh my God, now I can tell you this because now you're ready for it. So maybe again, go inwards, find out what your own guidance is telling you, and then move forward using your inner guidance rather than using your own desire of what you want to share. Share what you're told to share, not what you want to share. And that might help him flow with things easier too.
And my next little bit that I want to comment on would be, I'm going to say a long way down the road, but Angie didn't really realize what she was doing once we were together, but she would watch videos, and she would watch videos without using headphones. And I would be in the background doing my thing, and all of a sudden my ears would perk up going, what is she listening to? And somehow or another, that curiosity once in a while turned into another way of absorbing new ideas that I typically couldn't just have presented to me. It was a way of subliminally having it in the background once in a while at a point where I could develop my own curiosity. That's really difficult to administer because it's really chancy. Sometimes some people can hear some stuff in the background, and the next thing you know, they're wearing hearing protectors because they just can't listen to it. If that's not working for you, don't worry about it. You still need to watch your own videos. But yeah, I've developed curiosities about other people that Angie once in a while frequents and watches because, you know, now that things have made a little bit of sense to me, some of the other things that Angie watches make sense to me as well. And sometimes I get curious. Once in a while, she catches me looking over her shoulder.
Yeah.
As I'm going, hey, I know who that is. I know who this is. But that's a long ways down the road. The initial curiosity still has to be a question.
Yeah.
Are we done with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Oh, it's a one sentence question.
That might be the shortest question we've ever had.
Are we ready?
How many words is it?
I don't know, but I'm going to breathe real deep and not need it. Do you think TF must be faithful to the journey to attract each other again?
I so am intrigued to hear your perspective on this because there's many different ways you could answer this. There's many different perspectives, and there's many ways to look at the question.
There is. This is a question where if you just enunciated different words differently, it would be a different question.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read it again. Oh, maybe I will. Do you think twin flames must be faithful to the journey to attract each other again? As long as you're acknowledging that you're a twin flame, and as long as you haven't deliberately stepped off the journey and said you're never going to do it again, you're still on the journey. So being faithful to the journey, the only way you're not faithful to the journey is by completely refuting that it ever existed to begin with.
But I think even that is part of the journey. That's why I think this is such a great question. Because as a twin flame, even if your ego side, your human side says, no, I'm not doing this, I quit.
That could
Your soul side has got a whole other plan, and you can't quit the journey. If you've tried, you know, you can try quitting all you want. Your soul's like, yeah, good luck. And even when you think you've quit, you're still on it. I mean, were we faithful to the journey? No, because we didn't even know we had a journey. We went off into our own lives with other partners, other relationships. We had 17 years apart. We didn't even know we were on a journey. But our souls did.
and
That's what I think is so cool.
and we whatever journey we had, looking back at it, it was completely faithful to the journey because it
Totally.
was the journey. The experiences,
Totally.
the experiences in our life were all part of the journey.
Everything. Even when you think you're not being faithful to the journey. And that's what's also curious about this question is what does being faithful to the journey mean? It can mean many things to many people. For some people, it might mean you're only committed to your twin flame. You're never going to have a relationship with anybody else. If that's what you think being faithful to the journey is, I would even question that because if you have karma, did you catch that?
You. Can you spell that for me? Yo. Yo.
If you have karma with other people that you need to work out and you're refusing to be in any other relationship because your twin flame is the be all and end all and you're like, no, I can't love anybody else. First of all, you're missing the point because love is not restrictive. Love is expansive. When you understand that love is not only for one person, it is for everybody, then you understand that you can love many people. I know some people think like, I can't imagine being in a relationship with anybody else. And that's fine. Our journeys are all different. But I know for us, being with other people was absolutely part of our journey because we had karma to clear with either. I can't talk. With these other people. Yo. So it depends totally what your concept of being faithful or not faithful to the journey is. But in my opinion, you can't not be faithful to the journey. Because you came here choosing to be a twin flame and you can't unchoose that on a soul level.
And even taking this one notch further, boy, we're kind of not answering the question because
I just did.
because
what are you talking
because
about?
we're all over the place on defining the various words of the question, and knowing that every time we define something, all we do is just make the question go
More confusing.
whatever direction we want it to go.
For a one sentence question, it's got a lot of meat in it.
It does. As far as I'm concerned, everybody on this planet is on a journey.
Absolutely.
Whether they're a twin flame
Absolutely.
or a self-proclaimed complete atheist or pick anything.
Totally.
Everybody is on a journey.
And you can't fail on the journey.
Okay, yes, you can't fail.
You can, but you can't. In other words, when you go back to spirit and you have your life review, you might review things and go, oh, I should have done that different. Oh, I should have done that different. But it's all learning. That's the exciting thing. There's no failure. There's only learning.
It's only learning and learning through the contrasts.
Completely. And you need the contrast in order to experience.
So, do you have to be faithful to the journey to attract each other again? No.
No.
Because if you've been attracted once, I'm going to talk about twin flame specific bits here now, since I'd gone off of being twin flame specific. If you've recognized the attraction once, if you've recognized the journey once as a twin flame couple, most of the time, people can't find a way to completely turn that attraction off.
Right.
So you don't necessarily have to be staying faithful to anything, because the parameter of the attraction, I think, is always there. There's going to be some people who are going to say, no, it can be completely turned off. and I will respect that. But most of the people that we're in contact with haven't figured out how to turn it off.
Right.
So you don't have to choose
even
a journey.
when you think you have turned it off.
Even when you think you've turned it off and you've, let's say, cut cords and all those other things, turned your memory off, turned it off.
Totally.
No, the connection, the attraction is still there. So no, you don't have to follow any parameters. You don't have to stay faithful to anything to make the attraction potentially happen again.
The way I've always explained it to people is you can't fail on this journey. I had a client, a Reiki client a little while ago, and you'll have to bleep me, but she said, I think I effed things up. Bleep. She did something that she was so afraid that just screwed up her whole twin flame connection. And she was like, oh my God, what have I done? And I was like, you can't screw it up. Like, you literally can't screw it up. And then she came to me a couple months later and she's like, that was the best thing I could have ever done. I was like, bingo. So even when you think, oh my God, I did the worst thing I could do to my twin flame, I said the worst thing, I did whatever, you can't screw it up. Because how do you disconnect yourself from yourself? Your twin is you in another body. They're the same energy in another body. You can't detach from that. You can't fail. And that's what gives people ease on this journey, is to know you can't fail.
So 5,000 words later, do you think you must be faithful to the journey to attract each other again?
No.
No. Ta-da. 2-word answer, one from each of us.
Great question, though.
It's one of those questions.
So concise.
It's one of those questions that just opens up a philosophical floodgate.
Oh, could you imagine doing a workshop and having this question? Like, this would go on for hours. You know how sometimes in workshops, one question, everybody wants to share their own opinion, and you go around the room with 30 people, and there's like 30 different opinions? This would be one of them.
Yes.
This would be one of those questions that would just explode the room.
There would just be tangents all over the place.
Totally.
And then when you took a break from the conference, people would go into their little mini subgroups that they just naturally find with each other. And it would just continue on.
Yeah.
It would just go and go and go.
Yeah.
One whole weekend. One word or one sentence question. Done. Next question. A little bit of a longer one. I'm going to have to breathe multiple times. My TF and I are no longer in communication for over a year. I have consulted psychic friends and other gifted psychics. All of them have said that I will not come into union with my TF even though he wants to be in union with me, and that I will soon meet a high-level soulmate instead. I am very confused because all of the signs, synchronicities, downloads, and dreams I have received have indicated that I will come into union with my TF. I even had visions of our marriage and dreams of being married to him. I'm wondering if you consulted with psychics during your TF journey, and if the info they gave you conflicted with the info you received via signs and synchronicities, etc., regarding your own TF journey. My intuition is telling me that I am being tested to trust my own inner guidance.
This person has answered their own question with their very last sentence.
My intuition is telling me that I am being tested to trust my own inner guidance.
Yes.
We seldom tell people not to follow your inner guidance. Boy, that's a tough one to learn. It's about learning trust, especially since sometimes your inner guidance can miss. But when you start to work with your inner guidance, it's accurate far more often than it isn't.
So there's a couple things in here. One of the questions is, have we experienced that? I will answer that in a minute, but I want to go back a step further in saying there's really nothing wrong in seeing psychics or readers if you want to, but always remember not to give away your power. So this stranger that you may not know, this person saying it's a friend, but other people go to complete strangers and they get told something and then they believe it. They give every ounce of their power away to somebody else because, well, they know better. They're the psychic, they're the reader. I'm just on this journey, but they're not living it, but they know it. Why do that? This is your journey. You know it inside and out because you're living it. So, nothing wrong with going to others for help, for guidance, for support. But if you're going to give all your power away and let them tell you how your journey goes, tell you who you're supposed to be with and who you're not going to work. And the answer to this lady's question is exactly what she said at the very end. It is a test for her to trust her own inner guidance.
If you're going to go see someone for intuitive guidance, especially when it comes to a twin flame journey, the information needs to be known from the point of view of making sure that they know what a twin flame is.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't.
A lot of them are very unclear, and they maybe don't need any further education. But if they're unaware of what a twin flame connection is, then the information you get from them, you also will need to wash it through with the thought that they don't know what they are supplying information about. They're getting their feelings, they're getting their reading, they're giving it to you, but they don't have a direct perspective that you have. So you would need to maybe take the advice and apply it with a little bit of your own, again, intuition that you'd need to trust.
Yeah. So to answer the question, did we ever go to somebody?
You did.
You did not. I did, and it's not that I was going to them as a reader. Interestingly enough, and again, this we've shared in our Journey to Union videos, but I was trying to work through issues with my karmic partner at the time. I had learned that Rob and I were twin flames, but I was still trying to stay in the relationship that I was in, and we were going to counseling, and we were seeing a spiritual counselor, and I had shared with her in one of the sessions that I felt like the person I was with was, at the time I thought he was a soulmate. I've learned otherwise. By the way, we still do plan to do the video that we get a lot of requests for. What's the difference between a twin flame, a soulmate, a karmic partner? We will do that someday when we're called.
When spirit moves us.
Right.
It'll be the right timing.
Yes. So anyways, I was saying to this lady, I feel like the person I'm currently with is a soulmate, and then Rob, I feel, is a twin flame, and I think I'm supposed to be with him. And she told me, no, you're just making up all these labels to distract yourself, was the word she used, in order to not focus on your current relationship. Well, it turns out she was clearly wrong. This person that I was with was incredibly unhealthy. God bless him, because I needed him in my life to help me grow in ways that I couldn't have grown in order to be in union. But our time was definitely coming to an end, and Rob was coming into my life for a reason. So my own inner guidance was right. What she was telling me was incorrect, but it shook me. I was like, oh yeah, maybe she's right. I'm just using Rob as a distraction. I got to get him out of my life and out of my head, and I got to focus on this relationship. No, the relationship I was in had run its course. It was done. So I finally had to go with my own inner guidance because it was so strong that I couldn't deny it over what this other lady was saying that didn't even know me. She didn't know my life experience. She didn't know us and that we had had a past and knew each other in 1997 and talked about getting married and the connection we had and the magic we had. She knew none of that. So who was she to tell me what my life's journey was? But it was for me to trust my own inner guidance.
It's interesting listening to Angie talk, because it wasn't that the information I see, I'm gonna backpedal a little bit on you here. I don't believe that the information that Angie was given was wrong. I believe that it was information that Angie needed to hear
Totally.
to start to set up another set of contrasts and mirrors to help point Angie in a direction where she would understand what was going on. Because yes, there was labels. Yes, the label was distracting, but it was just half of the contrast. The person who the psychic who Angie was seeing was just giving the information that would then, I would call, trigger a bunch of other processes, a bunch of comparisons that would then allow the direction of where the two relationships, her previous one and the one that we have now, would need to go. So it wasn't that the information was wrong, it was just that the information needed time to provide clarity.
Okay. I was going to say it was wrong for me, but okay, we can go with that. Now, just to clarify though, she wasn't a psychic. She was just a counselor.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, she was a spiritual counselor, so she did have psychic abilities, but I wasn't going to her for readings and for intuitive guidance like that.
This is what happens when you jump into somebody else's story. Sometimes you don't get the perspective.
Well,
right.
that's okay. That's okay. I was also going to say I have done my own little video on this, and I will link it above. So if you want to watch that, I kind of elaborate a little bit more on, learning to trust your own inner guidance, and that these people that give us, I'll say, instead of wrong information that doesn't resonate with us, they have a purpose. They are a blessing because they are challenging you. When you hear, no, this isn't the person for you, your inner guidance will go, what? No, like this person says, but I've seen our wedding. I've seen this. I've felt this. I know this intuitively. And then you go, but wait a second. How come I'm telling them that they have all the power? How come I'm giving all my own intuitive feelings away to theirs? And that starts your own questioning, and that's where you learn to trust yourself. Like Rob said, that contrast sometimes is what we need. We need somebody to tell us no, so the yes can be so strong inside of us that we listen to the yes over somebody else's no. So they're a huge benefit.
There's a lot to be said for honoring someone else's journey. If you're seeing a psychic that is telling you a bunch of things that you are not resonating with, I would recommend that you tuck that information away for later purposes, as opposed to totally discrediting it and throwing it away and forgetting it and trying to stuff it away into a spot where you almost pretend that you never were there. It's interesting how sometimes information comes around later that then helps you further forward your own journey, even though it made no sense to the point in time that you accepted it into your journey.
And one last piece I wanted to add is that this, by the way, is very common. I get this so often that people are like, well, I went to a reader, I went to a psychic, and they said, this isn't my twin flame, or I'm going to be with somebody else and not this person. And what do I do with that? And I'm like, well, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to trust them, or do you want to trust your own inner knowing? So this is very, very common part of the journey for a lot of people. And again, it is to challenge you, and like this person said with their last statement, to learn to trust their own inner guidance. And it's not that easy at first to trust our own inner guidance, but this is one of the lessons for it. This is one of the things that helps a lot of people learn to trust it.
When it comes to labels, try being on the matrix side of the twin flame equation and then trying to trust your own inner guidance on top of that. It's a skill.
Yeah, but you did it so awesome.
Yeah.
All I did was text him the words twin flames with no knowledge, and he 3 days later was telling me what a twin flame was without Googling or researching anything.
then it took me another 6 months to trust what I just figured out. I was like, okay, now that was my guess. Now, really, what is it? And please tell me something different, because there's no way I could have guessed this myself. So there's still a whole lot of trusting to learn when it comes to
Fair enough.
intuition and inner guidance. Yes.
Well, you did good. You're here.
Very much here.
Okay.
Next question?
Yep.
Did you two have a certain feeling before union or reunion happened? Meaning, did you have a sense of calmness or not caring if you ever got together? Not feeling that push-pull energy or feeling neutral about the whole connection? Were you still feeling the love but not worrying if it would ever happen? I'm guessing that this feeling would be full surrender. Did it happen for you two? Meaning us two.
Right.
Did you have a sense of calmness or caring if you'd ever get together? I don't know if I had a sense of calmness. I was really on a mission the whole time. Like even when the Kleenex box was still on the counter and I was doing the firing, I'd always had.
Wait, which firing? My firing?
Yeah, your firing. Even going way back then, long before we got together.
Okay. I thought we were talking about union, and now we're talking about firing from 1997?
Yep, I'm going way back to then.
Okay.
I'd still always had the possibility of having a friendship. Now, that is a little bit different than what the question is. Did I have a feeling, or did I have a calmness or not caring? I did not have a calmness. I did not have a not caring because of the 500 things I wanted to do in my life. One of them in the background was being uncalm and being caring or careful enough to possibly allow Angie back into my life. As a friend, I thought. So, no dead calmness.
Okay, but what about when we were coming into union in like 2014, 2015?
When we were coming back into union, the primary focus was still friendship, even though I could see explosions of other opportunities presenting themselves.
I'm talking of when I told you we were twin flames and you said, I still love you.
Yeah.
And that was like the gateway of opening
to
union.
It was the gateway of opening, but from my point of view, I was still talking friendship.
Wait, what?
But,
Wait.
But that was still the primary
November
goal.
November 9th. When I text you the words twin flames and you responded with I still love you, you were talking friendship? I still love you as a friend?
Well, it wasn't like there was a guaranteed path to full relationship.
No, it wasn't guaranteed, but...
But I was going to take things as they come. But if the world was going to start to fall apart again, I wanted to at least still have a friendship. The primary goal was friendship, even with all the other opportunities right
ask this
before
question? You're just open a can of worms, man.
I'm not backing down from this.
Okay, can we focus on the actual question, though?
I've been answering it the whole time.
You're talking about when we broke up in 1997. They're asking about union.
Yes.
That's like 2014, 2015.
Then you steered me towards union. And I answered that question too. And you didn't like my answer, so you want me to try again. No, wrong answer. Right question.
You did not text me the words I still love you in friendship. That's bleeping words.
That was part of the other open doorways.
I'm going to answer the question now.
She can answer the question now. She's not getting the answer that she wants out of me.
Well, there's no answer. Did you have a sense of calmness or not caring if you ever got together? Yes and no. This is what's tricky. When you're sitting in your soul, you just know. You have that piece of it's all fine, no matter what. If we get together, if we don't get together, you just feel calm. But do you stay in that state? We didn't. It was back and forth, back and forth. It was human bits, soul bits. I can remember we'd be like talking about, wanting to move in together and like have a life together. And some nights it was like, oh my God, I can barely live in my own skin anymore because I need to be with you so badly that I'm going to burst if we don't get together really soon. And this wasn't for anything physical. This was just the need to be
in contact.
Yes. But other times I was like, it's all good. And do you remember how we would flip? One of us would be calm while the other one was like, oh my God, like we need to just end our relationships and move in together right bloody well now. And the other one would be like, no, it's okay. Well, it'll happen in its own time. We don't have to rush anything. And then the other one would be the anxious one. And then the other one would be the calm one.
I remember that.
So there was always one of us that was calm while the other one was desperately needing it. So we went back and forth.
Now, to further go on with my answer that was not accepted, I would say that even long before the end of November happened, let's talk November 9th and November 11th, we got past that day, that week.
Just so we're clear, if you don't know what we're talking about, November 9th is the day I texted him we were twin flames in 2014. November 11th is the day he awoke to the fact without researching anything, Googling anything, and all of a sudden he starts texting me what twin flames were. And he said, it's such an honor. No, I'm amazed that we're bound by such an honor or something like that. You had like such eloquent, beautiful words.
By the time the end of November started to roll around, I was completely enveloped in the thought of the potential for us to get back into a relationship. I'm not going to ever take those words back that I spoke 3 or 4 minutes ago. It started out with as friendship at a minimum. That's what's got to come out of this whole mess. And then it started to evolve into yes, we are eventually going to try to have this relationship again. But it even took another month after that before I started to realize it maybe wasn't going to be a year down the road.
We did not think it was going to happen quickly.
We didn't think it was going to happen quickly, but I started to think more and more that there was going to be a try to get into union. As I started to understand that union was a thing, a twin flame thing, as I started to learn more and more, as information was coming my direction, a lot of it, thankfully, from Angie, because my intuition was almost burnt out by then. It was doing well, but I was just so all over the place. It was a process of starting to trust that, yes, we were eventually going to have a real hard look at getting into union. But that was a process, and it started with at least I want to finish with a friendship, and then just exploded from there.
But did you still feel love and not worry if it would happen?
Still feel love? Yes. Initially, there wasn't a lot of worry whether it would ever happen, but as it started to come together as a destiny to try, that destiny to try then became the mission.
Right.
It went from resurrecting and saving a friendship to let's make sure that we have an opportunity sometime in the future to really try to make this union.
And that's where then we were, like they're saying, were you in a state of calmness or not caring? Or did you feel the push and pull? That's where one of us was always grounded and like, no, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. We don't have to push this. We don't have to force this. Well, the other one was like, oh my God, we need to get together. And then we'd switch roles. So we experienced both. It wasn't like it was just nice and calm and easy and, it'll just happen when it happens. if we had stayed in our, what I like to call our soul versus our humanness, then yeah, we would have been there the whole time. But guess what? We live on Earth. We're human beings. We're going to feel all the feelings. Even when you're coming into union, it's not like so many people think when you're coming into union or when you're in union, you're like centered all the time. No, we're never going to be while we're on this earth. That's part of being human. That's part of the human experience, is to have contrast, to have all the emotions. It just means you learn how to recover from emotions quicker. You learn how to process them faster and deal with them in a more balanced way. But we still felt all of it.
That's a very, very good question, just like many of them are, because this is one of the questions that, again, could be asked many ways, many ways, and each time it would get a slightly different response.
Yeah.
But if I could throw a different word in there, did you have a certain feeling of confidence before union?
Oh.
Ever happened? Did you have a sense of calmness or confidence or not caring that you'd ever get together? No, there's no confidence. And without the confidence, there's uncertainty. Without the uncertainty, there's always a bit of the stress or not knowing. And that was very, very much a preoccupation.
Really?
Yes.
I'm learning so much. This is a great question.
So
I had so much confidence.
well, I had so little confidence because there was so much between where I was at.
There was a lot
that,
of obstacles. A
hey,
lot of obstacles.
I was on the 3D side of things. There was relationships, there was houses, there was cars, there was places to live, there's
Finances.
finances.
Family. Because you were like, what do I tell my parents? I just split up with someone else and now I'm living with someone else.
And then there's the, oh yes, you're supposed to take a year between relationships, especially major relationships, so that you have time to calm down. There's all these rules and expectations and everything else.
Right.
So I didn't have any confidence on how this was going to work.
That makes sense.
So therefore, no, there wasn't a lot of calmness. The actual connection, it was so well. Okay, now the connection portion. I had confidence in the connection. I had no idea what the connection was going to offer us or do to us.
Right.
During all these other things. So some things you have a high amount of confidence in that it exists, but how it's going to play out, no confidence. Therefore, no, what's the word? Calmness or neutrality. Yeah, without the confidence, there is a ton of caring, but some of it might be self-preserving caring. Is that the right words? Because you're really looking to not set yourself up for a complete disappointment or failure. So yeah, using the word again, from a confidence point of view, not a lot of calmness.
And yet, for me, there was so much confidence. My biggest hurdle was Spirit kept telling me to tell him we're twin flames. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. 6 months I fought it. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm telling this man. Because I was still thinking he was the old Rob, who was very 3D, didn't do any spiritual woo-woo, not at all. And I'm thinking, I've just developed a friendship with him. If I tell him this, he's gone. I've lost him for the rest of my life.
See? Friendship, right there. Goal.
Hang
on. I developed a friendship. Okay. I just heard those words. Oh, my knee's getting slapped.
Once he accepted we were twin flames, that I had all the confidence in the world. I was like, well, hell, that was the biggest miracle of all. He, without even knowing or reading or learning anything, he accepts that we're twin flames. The rest, sure, every miracle in the world can happen now because the biggest one just happened and you just knowing and accepting we were twin flames. So I had so much confidence after that. I didn't know how it was going to come together, but I had so much faith that it would.
See, I hadn't learned to trust that certain knowledge would manifest towards certain result. So I did not have that, even though I had the same information, I wasn't interpreting it the same way. It still required more analysis. I was missing my education.
So funny.
Whew.
Right.
Ah,
I think we're there now.
yeah. That was pretty intense.
That was a fun question. I learned a lot.
It's amazing. You know, you can live the journey, then go back and do videos in the journey, and then a question goes ahead and brings up a whole new perspective of what really happened. That's why this journey is so tough.
No, November 11th, we just celebrated 7 years of when I told Rob we were twin flames. 7 years, and we're now just learning things about that time period of our lives.
Learning another perspective.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Now I got to go change all my writing for the book again. I got to throw this in. I didn't realize that perspective was all of a sudden going to be important. Every perspective's important.
Oh dear.
This is, yeah. Oh. Now my brain's stuck in book land.
Oh boy.
Okay, next question.
Yes.
I connected with a guy online and we talked for a short while. Then he disappeared.
Sounds familiar to this journey, doesn't it?
Then he disappeared and it triggered something within me, similar to a dark night of the soul, maybe. The weird thing is, I've had dreams of his birth date, telling him he wasn't ready to meet yet and that he was left-handed, all of which he confirmed were true when we did meet. Have you two experienced anything like this before? Is this typical for twin flames or even soulmates? Where he had dreams of his birth date, telling him he wasn't ready to meet yet and that he was left-handed. So in other words, this person gets all this intuition. Was this done after he disappeared? I may have just missed the point of the question.
Yes, I actually cut the question down because it was really long and it had a lot of detail. So
okay,
I might have cut too much out. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Yes, so they met, had this interesting connection. Then he disappeared. It triggered stuff in her. But while they were apart, she was starting to know stuff and didn't know how she knew this stuff. She would have dreams and wasn't sure, was this really his birthday? Was he really left-handed? And then when they did reconnect, she asked him these things and he verified, yes, this is my birthday. Yes, I'm left-handed. So she was getting confirmation that all these things that she was dreaming about and knowing about were true. And yes, this is very, very common with twin flames. Again, because you're connected in such a unique way that you just know stuff about the other person without knowing. You can have feelings of like, oh, they're not feeling well today or they're really down today. And then you talk to them however much time goes by and they confirm and they're like, yep, I was feeling that. And you're like, wow, how did I know that? You know, because you're connected.
I'm going to say 2 words and get myself in trouble for the 45th time tonight.
Okay, I'm excited.
Lucky guess.
Okay, now you get to explain it.
You know, sometimes you have a little smidge of information and then you go ahead and extrapolate a whole bunch of information from it. And if you happen to be right, you just call it a lucky guess. Except maybe it isn't quite so lucky. Maybe it is intuitive knowledge.
Claircognizance. He is incredibly claircognizant, i.e., I tell him the words twin flames and all of a sudden he's telling me what twin flames mean. I've studied it for years and he just knows about it for 3 days and then he's telling me more than even I know about it after studying it. Claircognizance. This lady has claircognizance. She just knows stuff. And that's very, very normal in this connection. You can have clairvoyance where you might see your twin flame in a scenario and wonder, why am I seeing this image? And then you get confirmation later that yes, they were in this situation or going through this scenario. You might have What are the other clairs?
Well, there's another one that we don't talk about very much. It's clairaudience.
Yes.
Where you actually hear the voice of angels or spirit. Yeah, clairaudience.
Yep. And you might even hear your twin's voice.
Clairsentience. Yeah.
That's the feeling.
That's the feeling.
Yep.
So it seems to me that, boy, I'm almost off on a tangent here.
You tangent? No.
Never happened before.
No.
That it's very hard to be on the twin flame journey without having some form of gifts that you understand from spirit, because you couldn't almost accept that the twin flame journey was real without having accepted that something really, I don't want to use these words because I don't really mean them, but something so bizarre sounding to the 3D mind could even exist. So you must have really almost been conditioned by other things, by other gifts that you've come to understand and accept before you'd be able to even accept that twin flames was possible. So yes, all these gifts, being able to intuitively know stuff, did we experience it? Yes. Did I sometimes know I was experiencing it? No, I didn't. I just thought it was lucky guesses. And is this typical for twin flames or soulmates? Highly typical.
I think the words paranormal sort of come in, right? You have weird experiences, neat experiences, experiences that you can't really explain. And you're like, how do I know this? How do I feel this? How do I see this? Why am I experiencing this? That's part of the twin flame journey. And that, for me, is part of the magic of this connection. And I'm so excited when we eventually do our video where we kind of explain the differences and similarities of twin flames versus soulmates versus everything else. Is, for me, what defines a twin flame over anything else is stuff like this, the magic. Yes, you can still have this with soulmates. I'm not saying you can't. I've experienced this with soulmates as well. But it's on a whole nother level with the twin flame. It's just, the paranormal is so different, amazing, unique, magical, is how I would put it.
With the twin flame journey, you're already so experienced. I mean, and I'm not talking past life experience, I'm talking present life experience, an understanding of the possibilities. You're so open to what can possibly happen that the twin flame journey actually has a chance to really, really exist. So it's like the gifts are already there beforehand. I haven't had anyone really come up to me and say, hi, I discovered that I was twin flame, and then I all of a sudden started to get gifts, and I've never, ever, ever had a gift before. They almost always discover twin flameism after they've already got gifts. So yeah, super common. My point of view.
Your twin activates your gifts. You might have these gifts and have always had them, but your twin activates them so they become so strong. Like, I had no idea I was clairvoyant. I didn't even know what being clairvoyant was until Rob and I met, and I think we didn't even know each other a month when I was seeing his aura. I didn't even know what an aura was. I'd never even heard the word. And I'm describing to him, you have green and yellow color around you. He's like, oh, you're seeing my aura. I'm like, you're what? What's that? So he activated me. And that's obviously what this other person has done for you. Whether you want to label them a twin flame, a soulmate, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't really matter. The fact is, you've clearly been activated. You have a unique connection with this person. To be able to know these things about them, that's awesome. Totally exciting. Now, this next question is big. Should I just check our time? Oh, we're like a minute. We're at 59:23.
I was going to ask you, because I just took a little look at this question and my eyes are going wonky on it. I was going to ask if you wanted to read this question.
I can read it. Do we want to do it now? It's going to put us like way over an hour. I'm okay to do it if you want to.
I'd kind of like to.
Okay.
without speaking names, it's a person who we have heard from before. So I really kind of want to honor this by doing this question.
Okay, so you want me to read it?
Yeah.
I'm in the hot seat. Okay, I feel like the collective, and they put in quotes, would benefit to get back on some basics. So here's a gooder. What is karma? Now, do we want to read all of it and then go back and answer?
Yep.
Okay. How do we balance or fulfill karma? Does soul awareness allow us to recognize karma so we no longer need to reenact it? Do we have karma with our twin soul? Does it need to be completely reenacted or can it be transcended? I feel mission for anyone soul aware, some of them in their divinity, is to cheer on any other to be soul aware, be in their divinity. Thus, everyone has the potential to be divine. Could the storytelling of conflict with karmics potentially be creating conflict with karmics since we are powerful co-creators? Would the mission include wishing any other acting karmically to know the clarity of their divine soul guidance? That anyone concludes karmic conduct and cycles quickly and with ease. Could the story that others attach and drain our energy be what is draining our energy? What is inner union? Is this the same as being in your divinity? When someone is in inner union, would they continue to conduct themselves karmically? I didn't count that, but that's a lot of questions.
I was trying to count, and between actual questions and questions that could be answered two ways, I was at about 15.
I believe that.
But it's a really deep question, and I quite enjoy this. Let's just nail them one at a time and try not to give them more than 2 minutes at a time.
That's tricky for us, but we'll try.
Because this question, had I read it over a half a dozen times before coming into this video, we could have just done the whole video on this.
Definitely, there's a lot in here.
And who knows? Maybe we'll skim the surface here and then try deeper later. Who knows? What is karma?
Okay, end of question. We're done. We're just scared each other.
That was 2 minutes. No. What is karma? People talk about good karma and people talk about bad karma. For example, if you do something sly and underhanded, you're inviting something to come back to you that's gonna be not nice in a sly and underhanded way. Karma is an invitation for a response from spirit. That is what I consider karma to be.
A response from spirit.
Yes, nobody's complete journey is absolutely set, and if you make a choice in your journey that spirit wishes to inflict a lesson on, a response from spirit, a chance to learn from what you have done, that only spirit could say, well, you've made that choice, therefore to learn from it you need another response. The response, whatever happens, whether it be a message or an event, a catastrophic event, or maybe a really good event, who knows, positive or negative, that response is a response from spirit.
Interesting way to look at it. I interpret karma to be a balancing of energies. Like so many people say, oh, that's bad karma. Karma's not bad. It's just a balance. For example, especially people that are watching this who are twin flames, or if you don't like the label of twin flames, you are a soul that has been on the earth many times. We have all been everything. We've been the murderer, we've been the lover, we've been the fighter, we've been the healer. Yeah. Yes, we've been all of it. And that's what karma is. If you come into a life and you want to experience being the murderer, well, then the next life, you're going to experience the opposite of that. And that's not somebody is inflicting that on you. You're inflicting it on yourself. And you're not even inflicting it on yourself. You're choosing it for the experience, for the balance. You want to know everything. You want to know every aspect. In other words, we come to Earth to play every single role. If you're imagining life as a play on a stage, you want to be every actor. You want to know what it's like to be the richest person in the world. You also want to know what it's like to be the poorest person in the world. So it's just an experience of every single thing. And so it's having that balance. If you've experienced one thing, now you're going to come back and experience the other. And you don't have to come back to experience it. We can experience karma more and more now. Karma's becoming more instant. If you do something good's going to come back to you. If you do something bad, again, there's really no bad, but if you do something that might hurt another, then you're going to experience hurt in your own way. So you can feel what it's like. Again, because we're not just connected to our twin flame, we're connected with everybody. And that's what karma is showing us, is that what you give out, you get back, because you are every single other person. You are a piece and an aspect of everybody else. So what you do to another, you're going to feel for yourself.
If you're bringing karma forward from a previous incarnation, karma could be a piece of unfulfilled journey that needs to be experienced. Yes. I'm going to just bring in a little of what some would say would be bad karma, but I'm just going to try to be funny. I'm going to add trouble number 46.
I'm scared.
Karma is what a redneck would run over with his truckma. I'm sorry.
His cheesy jokes. Thank you for inflicting some pain.
I kind of think that was funny.
It was very funny.
Well, I think it's just regular old funny.
Some people are pausing like, what the hell did he say?
They're going to rewind that and go, really?
I don't get it.
How do we balance or fulfill karma? I have a really short answer.
Okay.
Live your journey.
Absolutely.
If karma's going to come your way, you've got no choice but to just see it through to an end. If you try to, well, of course, if you try to not see it through to an end, how do you know that that wasn't part of what your journey was supposed to be? But if you don't fulfill karma to an understanding to which you can at least explain or bargain with spirit with, you're now just going to turn it into another piece of karma that you'll carry forward to another experience at some time later, this incarnation or in the future. So, yeah, just live your journey. That's how you balance or fulfill karma. Does soul awareness allow us to recognize karma so that we no longer to reenact it? I would say yes.
Yeah.
You know, how many times have you seen something coming and you go, I just don't need to do this. I can be better or happier or help someone else without having to go through all the pain. We can just get to the conclusion. Yes, soul awareness can allow answers to come before we actually have to use the previous portion of the question, reenact it all the way through.
And just an example of that, this previous partner that I've been sharing about in this night's stuff, when him and I were together, his son came to live with us for a while, and quite honestly, I couldn't stand the kid, and I didn't know why. I just had so much anger and resentment towards him, even though he hadn't done anything to me, until I had a past life regression and discovered we had a relationship in a previous life where he was my mom, and I was still carrying over that resentment from him as my mom. So now we had reversed roles. I was now the stepmom and had to clear that. So having soul awareness made it so much quicker that I didn't have to go through long drawn out years or whatever working with him and clearing all that karma. I was able to clear very quickly just by having a past life regression and understanding what it was, and then going, oh, got it. I understand why I have the resentment from that previous life. So I don't need to carry that resentment anymore. We can just clear it here and now. So that's one example of having soul awareness. Remembering who you are, who you've been, where you've been.
I don't have any stories to add. Sorry.
Okay. Next bit?
Do we have karma with our twin soul? High probability of yes. And I can't explain why.
Okay, and I don't have an answer. I don't know. I'm trying to, from our own experience, think like, is it? I'm sure we do because you've had other lives with your. Most of us have, where you weren't allowed to be together for. Oh, here's a good example. I just shared this in one of our recent videos. I don't even remember which one it was. But where we had a past life in Egypt, which, again, a lot of twin flames, very common to have ancient Egypt as a past life. And we weren't supposed to be together romantically, and we were together romantically. So it did create karma, and that was one of the reasons Rob was afraid to come together this time, because even though he didn't consciously remember this, it was still within his energetic field. So I had to clear that. I had to go in and to do past life clearing on that, and then he felt much safer to come into union because now he was like, okay, this isn't in our field anymore. It's not going to scare me to like, we're not going to get killed or jailed or hurt
or stoned or
yeah. So yes, I would say we do have karma as twins.
And this is just something that's just kind of come to my mind. Sometimes a soul can get stuck where it's got karma, but it can't clear the karma by itself. And one of the better ways to clear the karma, as opposed to trying to work this out in a different incarnation with a soulmate, would to be to actually become a twin, so that it can work out the karma internally without having to go through a soulmate.
Oh, I see. Before you incarnate, you choose to become it. You choose to split your soul.
So, in other words, the soul itself becomes a twin soul. Help to give itself
to clear more,
to properly give itself an opportunity to clear its karma.
Yes.
So karma may be a reason why a soul becomes a twin.
Yes, and that's why they say that twin flames, twin souls are advanced souls, because advanced souls have the ability to do more in one incarnation and want the ability to do more in one incarnation by splitting and living multiple lives and clearing multiple bits of karma all at the same time. Yes, that's a great example.
Next part of the question.
Yeah.
Does it need to be completely reenacted, or can it be transcended?
It can be transcended.
I'm glad Angie has an answer to that question, because I don't.
Well, very much like the example I had about my stepson.
Yeah.
We didn't need to reenact all of this stuff and go through a bunch of clearing and issues and fighting and anger and whatever. Once I understood what the issue was, I was able to just resolve it. And then within a month, he moved out. He only lived with us for 6 months. It was just quick, easy, done. Didn't need years worth of clearing.
It just needed to be recognized so at that point then it could be transcended.
Right. Right.
The next comment was, I feel mission for every soul aware is to cheer on any other soul to be soul aware in their divinity. Thus, everyone has the potential to be divine. That's a fantastic statement, because that is a full-on yes. To cheer on any other soul, to help guide others, that guidance, that willing to help, boy, could you call that love?
That's the purest form of love.
So yes, completely agree. Anyone who is soul aware, to be able to speak to someone else or someone else's soul, to cheer them on for greater awareness of their own. Sure.
Yeah, love that.
Yes. Absolutely. That's actually a good spot to stop, because then we got all this bit to say for later, even though you did read it.
Oh, okay.
Do we want to stop right there?
I'll leave that up to you.
I'd say let's do that.
I don't want to create a new karma, but disagree.
Well, It's just that the rest of this, the more we go into this, the more I realize that this whole gambit of thoughts and questions and ponderings could be a whole video on its own.
I don't know. I think this would be easy to answer, though.
Okay.
It's basically just staying, like, by believing that karmic partners are in your life to clear karma. Is that creating more karma just by knowing or thinking or believing that that's the issue is karma?
Wishing can make it so. You think of a little bit, though, so therefore you just manifest more.
And sure, yes. If you want to continue in that story that, oh my God, I'm with my karmic partner and oh, we have so much karma to clear, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, in my opinion, it's sometimes better when you don't know what relationship you're in because then you just live it. You're not labeling it, oh, okay, this is a karmic partner, so this is what we have to work on and this is what we're clearing. You just live it. I didn't know who I was with was a karmic partner or a soulmate or a narcissist or anything. I just was in the relationship and I did the work that needed to be done because it was in front of me. If I had labeled it, it probably would have created more work, more hardship, more challenges, more karma. So yeah, I agree. The storytelling of it sometimes creates more of it.
Yes.
Because then you're in your ego about it all.
Yes, and then you set up boundaries or lines, and on the opposite sides of the lines is a set of mirrors.
Right.
And then you start to look at what's in the mirrors, and then if you don't like what you see, then you start to change that. So yeah, so one round of karma discussed could all of a sudden reflect and create a whole pile of more different karma.
Totally. In my opinion, it's better to just be whatever relationship you're in is in your life for a reason. Work through the relationship, and then if it continues, great, and if it doesn't, well, then it's time to move on. But when you label it, sometimes you're like, oh, well, okay, I'm here for this, and then you actually miss the gifts of the relationship because you're too busy analyzing it.
Is there any thought that the powerful co-creators that could create this karmic, the more powerful the co-creators, the deeper the karma?
I don't know if I really understand that.
Could storytelling of conflict with karmas be potentially creating conflict with karmics since we are powerful co-creators?
Okay, that's what we just answered.
Yeah. Would the mission include wishing any other acting karmically to know the clarity of their divine soul guidance? I was going back to since we are powerful co-creators.
Got it.
What if we were just weak co-creators? Would we only create weak karma?
But I think they're saying if you're a powerful co-creator, and they're talking about the mission from up above here, that if you see your divinity, you can help another see their divinity. Could you then...
Any other people acting karmically to know the clarity of their...
Right. Their divinity and their divine soul guidance.
Wow.
That's pretty deep.
That's deep. I'm going to say absolutely possible, but less likely, because the ability, boy, that would be almost stepping in and influencing somebody else's journey by saying, "Hi, you can skip a whole bunch of this stuff because we can see where this is all going anyway," and trying to inflict someone to not work through their journey on their own.
Mm.
So
That's an interesting way to look at it.
I think you could probably do the guidance, but whether it would be helpful or just redirect them in the same journey line anyway, don't know. Sometimes I think it could be completely successful. Other times I think it would just co-create more karma again.
Right, right.
So do you want to step in and do that? I don't know.
I don't know if it's anybody's right to do that necessarily. You can certainly send your energy towards that, but it's for the other person to choose if they're ready to see their divinity or if they still want to play in the karmic pool of life. Some people like the dance of karma and they just keep creating more because it's fun. And it's fun because it's an experience. Again, when you don't see it as good or bad, you just see it as an experience. Some people like the continued experience. And they're not ready to get off that karmic wheel.
Or maybe they need to have that continued
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But again, with the thought that everybody's on their own journey, I don't think it's a bad thing to try.
No.
If you intuitively feel like you need to at least try to inflict guidance upon someone.
Right. But then
why
you
not?
also have to know when to
back off and
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next piece of that? Could the story that others attach and drain your energy be what is draining your energy? Again, yes, if you're, what's the right words? If you're believing that story so much that you're giving your power away, going, oh, well, they're going to drain my energy. So, I mean, when you're standing in your power, you can know and understand that there are genuinely energetic vampires, but you can know that you're empowered to manage your own energy and that you don't have to give your energy to them. You're in control of that. You choose that.
I'm glad you said energy vampires, because that's what I read into that. If somebody is inflicting a story and it's almost not quite malicious, but maybe to somebody else's entertainment to watch you struggle with that story and watch your energy drain, but yet they get a bit of a buzz off it. So in other words, they do something to you to vampire your energy. Yeah, absolutely. If they can do that, and if you can respond in a way that you give away your energy, sure, they're going to be successful.
And what they're saying, though, is by saying, okay, well, I'm drained by other people's energy, then you're just validating that and you're recreating that over and over.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm a highly sensitive person and my energy can get drained, but that's not to say I give my power away to everybody. That's saying I know how to manage my energy. I know how to say no. I know how to, if I'm in a crowd of people, I put a bubble around myself so I'm not being bombarded by everybody's energy. It's learning how to be the creator that you are and not be a victim. This is what being a victim is, right? Oh, everybody's going to drain me. Ugh.
Yeah, this is defining and accepting being a victim.
Right. So that's what they're just asking is, like, if you believe that your energy is going to be drained, then your energy is going to be drained. Absolutely. Because our beliefs create our reality. Our thoughts create our reality. Okay, so what is inner union? This kind of ties with what I was just saying about inner union. Inner union is when you know yourself well, you are connected with yourself, and you don't give your power away, you don't give your energy away to anybody, especially your twin. So many people think, oh, to be in union, I need to do whatever my twin says and do whatever my twin wants, and that's like a whole other topic, and I don't want to get into that, but it's like, no, inner union is being solid in yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing what you feel, knowing what you need, and knowing that you are the one that has to give it to yourself, not waiting for somebody else, your twin or somebody else, to fulfill you, make you happy, make you whole, make you complete.
Another word that I would use, and it's again, the first word that came to my mind was inner union, would be inner resonance, where you resonate with yourself.
Oh,
where you have thoughts and feelings and actions, all of which you would stand beside and do again, experience again, feel again, express again. If you have a day where you come out at the end of the day going, wow, I had a great day, I would do that whole day over again. I would have that conversation with this person. I would be happy with the meditation I had connecting with spirit. You were just happy with the whole day. Chances are that day you had lots of inner union.
Interesting. I never really thought of it as having lots of inner union or less inner union, but I guess it's possible.
Well, you know,
You have good days and bad days still.
well, yeah, you know, some days you do something a little bit sneaky, and then you walk around with inner guilt all for the rest of the day, saying, "Oh no, have I just invited bad karma to myself?" So, yeah, you know, if you can have far happier thoughts with yourself, if you resonate with yourself, yeah, you're in some form of nice union.
Okay, so is this the same as being in your divinity? To me, yes. A lot of it is.
Define divinity.
Well, that's the tricky thing. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, okay. Define divinity from the point of view, I'm going to have two opposites here, and it's not going to help the conversation, so I don't even know why I'm going here.
Okay.
You have someone who is guiding and trying to help the population by doing lots of great, fantastic things and being a great role model. And you have another person who totally resonates with themselves in the thought that they're being a mass murderer and they're doing a great job of it. Is either one of them in any better divinity, or are they just on a path within divinity? What is divinity?
To me, divinity is when you know your multidimensional self. You know that you're an eternal soul being. You know that this is only one of many, many experiences. This planet is only one of many planets you've probably been on. You know yourself on a much higher level than just being human. That to me is what divinity is.
Okay. Divinity is very typically taken as a positive, very positive and very noble trait, but you can still be in divine mission while doing things that others wouldn't necessarily call being very divine. But you can still be in mission with your divine purpose. So that's why I threw that out there.
Okay.
This next one, when someone is in inner union, would they continue to conduct themselves karmically?
No. Because when you're in inner union, part of inner union is outer union. When you are in union with yourself, you know you're not just in union with your twin or a relationship that you're in. You know you're in union with everybody. So you know that if you steal from this person, you're stealing from yourself because you know that that other person is you. So when you're in a place of inner union, you're also in a place of outer union.
If you're in a place of complete inner union, you would never allow the acting of, what did you just word that as? Would they, the question is, oh boy, you made a point now, it's poof, blown out of my head.
Oh.
But would they continue to conduct themselves karmically? If they were in almost complete inner union, then they would still have a little bit of karmically ability to be acting karmically. If they're in complete inner union, then they would always stop themselves from being able to experience karma. But then again, in some thought lines, if you're not experiencing karma, you've now stopped living, stopped learning. Because then if you're not experiencing karma, then you're not looking in a mirror anymore. And if you've made so much completeness of union, of inner union, then you've almost reached the end of your journey because you're to the point where you're not mirroring anymore, you're not karmicking anymore.
Karmicking.
So when someone is in a high amount of inner union, I would almost think that they are just about done with the need for being incarnated.
Agree, but I don't think most of humanity is always in a place of inner union.
No, I would almost say
you have to be like the Dalai Lama to be there, or
right.
Jesus, or like an ascended master kind of thing.
So therefore, I would say that the majority of people are between 20 and 80% in their inner union. And there's still lots of room for conducting themselves karmically. In the aspects that they're in union, they probably can skip the karma bit. in the aspects that they're not in complete union with their inner selves, then that's where the opportunity to be in karmic activity would shine back out.
And I think the more you grow and the more, I want to use the word advanced, I don't know if that's the most appropriate word, but you have higher times of being in inner union or being in your divinity than you have times of not. But it's not to say just because we're in like physical twin flame union that we're always in our divinity and we're always in our inner union. Like, no, not at all.
No.
We're still human. We still have, and I don't think that's the case for most of humanity. Yes, as you get further along in your journey, you have more times of being in your divinity than more times of not being in your divinity. But if somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're already having a bad day, you're probably not going to be in a moment of divinity. And then you're going to catch yourself quicker and quicker and quicker to that, you can be. But to be perfectly in divinity all the time, I don't think we're meant to. That's not part of the human experience for most of us.
Yeah, I think to be a little bit outside of divinity is probably why we're here to begin with.
Right.
Because then it allows us to experience stuff other than divine for the purpose of mirroring and understanding what divine is.
Right. That's the contrast, right? How do you know what divine is unless you know what not divine is? How do you know what union is if you have never experienced not union? Yeah, you have to have it all.
But if someone's in a higher degree of inner union, I still think that they're going to be making far better decisions in the majority of the time.
Definitely.
And that ability to do so would shine through their being, and I think others would be able to see that.
Yeah.
They would be the kind of people that others might wish to be like. For example, it's really hard to get me to yell and swear at somebody when I'm in traffic. Especially the bigger the mistake they make, my instant thought
The
is
kinder you are.
is the least likely that they knew that they made it.
Right.
Someone bullies their way into a line not zipper merging properly right in front of me. I can say, okay, fine. If you really want that spot, go ahead. You can have it. But someone whips in front of me, and I have to slam on my brakes. They obviously didn't see me. So, I have a lot of forgiveness, and I actually like that about myself. I'm in inner union with myself most of the time when I'm driving in traffic, because I feel I'm one of the most pleasant people to be on the same roadway with.
Yes, I completely agree.
So, yeah, inner union is a nice thing to be able to feel, to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be happy with yourself. That goes back to where I started.
Yeah.
I had a great day because if there was any conflicts, they weren't with my inner self. I think I have a lot of good days. Quite happy with that.
So I don't even know how long we've been on, but I suspect
It's probably been 20, 25 minutes on this bit.
So I think we ought wrap it up now. I always get a little stressed when we're past an hour because I like to respect people's time, but you can watch this in bits or not at all, whatever you want.
Anyway, this was an excellent batch of questions. They usually are.
Yes.
This one was extra tasty, crispy, excellent.
Yes.
I even got to tell a bad joke in the middle of the video, and I'm all happy with that.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, and once again, happy Thanksgiving for American people and the rest of the world. We're not celebrating Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah. Well, for us, our Thanksgiving up here in Canada was a month and a bit ago, almost 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Good. Our winter gets here sooner. We got to be thankful a little bit earlier in the year. That's pretty much it, too.
Yes.
Growing season's ended. Time to be thankful. We got our loaf of bread.
Woohoo. Have a wonderful night, morning, evening, weekend, whatever.
Enjoy.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.